Hello and welcome to the third and final part of building a Dutch windmill in Planet Coaster. And in this episode, which is slightly shorter, you will get to see me finish off this building. It wasn't that long of a build to make, but it was pretty straightforward, but it was a bit more of a complex shape. So it was quick in general, but working it out took a little bit more brain activity and a bit more thought to it. I mean, when I started making this build, I wanted to make sure there was a circular base, because a lot of Dutch windmills that I was looking at had very varied in base design and how they looked. Some looked like houses, some were more boxy, some were more ovular, hexagonal, there's so many different ways to portray it. But I wanted something circular because I wanted to contrast the shape of the top of the windmill with the circular of the bottom. That being said, the shape of this windmill, I was doing a little bit of research. I thought I should do a little bit of research when I'm talking about windmills, because I don't actually know a whole lot about them. But from Wikipedia, this kind of windmill, I have some people who are experts at windmills watching my videos, so I should, I always ask, if I get it wrong, please let me know. But this is a smock windmill, or a smock mill. And the smock refers to the octagonal shape of the body. And that's basically what I read on Wikipedia. I don't know how, the example they gave me was a German windmill, not a Dutch windmill, but from what I can gather, a lot of Dutch windmills, in fact, the iconic Dutch windmills that you see are all smock mills, basically. But, don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. This could be a completely different type of windmill. Who knows? I am no expert. I just know, I'm just guessing based on the looks. But maybe that's not enough. Maybe it's all about how the windmills work, etc., etc. I mean, when I was going about making this windmill, I did have on the top of the windmill, there's a part that was more reflective of a Dutch design. But there are other designs to the top which have a spinning circular rotatory thing as well as a blade. And I think in my next windmill that I build, I will base it off more some sort of design from that. I saw a very beautiful windmill from, I think it was in Malmö in Sweden, and it had a really interesting top. So maybe I'll do a bit more of a varied windmill next time for my nether park. I mean, my park at the moment will have 2 more windmills. One, like I just said, something similar to this windmill, something reflecting more of the Dutch characteristics. And the other one will be for my Sleepy Hollow area. And I had a look at the one from the movie, and it was very inspiring. So I think I will make Creepy Windmill too. I mean, that's not something I've seen in the workshop. I've seen lots of fantasy windmills, and a huge amount of windmills available, but I have not seen a creepy one. So maybe that would be something useful for me. I'm not entirely sure. But I've been thinking about, the use of the blades, and I guess the one blade has to be used for all the windmills. I mean, there's no variation in that. But with the right coloring, I think that will work. Don't quote me on that. I have it in my brain still. I still have to get off my lazy butt and continue with my nether park. But I've had some other obligations to do, and at the same time, I don't want to rush it. But I think today I'm gonna continue and start making some more windmills. That being said, I think I might have to start building some of the buildings for Nether Park in a different save game, because I'm getting a lot of lag and I'm getting a lot of frame rate issues, and maybe it's easier just to build it with a more stable park with less items in it and then transfer it into Nether Park. I don't know. I mean, I ran into a problem I didn't know quite what was wrong with my park. And if you're having problems accessing my park, like it just doesn't load and crashes to screen, it happened to me, and I was freaking out for a second, thinking like, oh my god, I can't access my park. What do I do? What have I done wrong? I mean, nothing changed. And then I remembered that I had changed it into Ultra, the game settings, the graphic settings into Ultra, to take photos for my windmill video. And so I had to change that outside of the game. I had to change that in the main menu, and I could access it. I use medium settings now, but I have had some people contact me saying they couldn't enter my park, and that was the park I uploaded, which has less stuff than the one that I'm currently working on, which is the development. I'm gonna release that soon. And so but it seems that it works if you turn down the graphic settings. So I mean, some people's computers may not be able to handle my park. It's really condensed, but that being said, I'm also having a bit of problems at the moment. So that's it was a bit scary, but I'm glad I worked that out so I can continue with my park, and that's all good. But I'm worried that I'm gonna have to turn my settings down lower and lower. But what's good is that I can actually change the settings up back to ultra once I'm inside the game, like once the game has loaded. So I don't know if it's actually a bug or if it's because of, you know, something like that. Maybe I should contact the forums and tell them that. I don't know how important that is because I'm not a game developer, so I don't know. But I think it's a bit of a mistake. But it still works, thankfully. Otherwise I would have been pretty upset because this park really has been my pride and joy, and I cannot bear to think it not working. Anyway, I've been digressing a whole lot talking about my other park. I should continue talking about the windmill, and as you can see now, the base is more or less completed. I love the way the top of that piece looked when you make it circular. It really adds the depth I wanted. It was pretty difficult to make the base because I wanted a brick stone base, and that was the best piece suited for that. I think there are not enough small brick pieces that you can't place them as intricately as a wood panel. So there's that. But I managed to get through that, I think. And now I'm just building some windows around to give it a bit of integration. I mean, many windmills have another building, you know, a whole house, sort of. Some people live in a house with a windmill attached to the top. And I mean, that sounds incredibly magical. So I would, you know, I think my next windmill is going to have something more like a house attached to it. Because I want to make all the windmills a bit different and a bit varied. No one wants the same thing. I've even thought about recoloring this, you know, so you have many different colors of the same windmill. But I thought, oh, well, if you want that, let me know. It's just a pain to recolor it, and I'm not sure how cool that would be. And maybe it's time I reattempt to build it. Maybe I could rebuild it better because I know what to do now, and etc, etc. So now I'm building these little I don't know what those things would be called, but they keep the balcony area, you know, attached and stable. I decided against putting them all the way around, like on every side, so I only did it one, you know, I omitted a side, and I think it worked out okay. Now this part I have no idea how to describe or what it's called. Maybe I can look at my notes, but or maybe not. I'm not going to attempt to describe what these names are because I don't know what they're called, but I do know that they are used to help with the direction of the windmill, and I think this windmill rotates at sort of this area below the balcony, or I could be wrong. But sometimes the windmills have a rotatory top, and sometimes the whole bodies rotate. And what these do is to help find the correct wind direction, because in Northern Europe the wind is very variable, so you need to be able to change it to get the best use of it. I think in some other parts of the world they don't have to change the windmill direction as much because the wind is more assured, or it comes in from the ocean. But in Europe and in the Netherlands, and you'll get it in most windmills seen throughout Europe, that they have to rotate and change direction to catch the best effects of the wind. I mean, most of these windmills would be used for powering grain mills as well as for pumping water, but there were many reasons for them to have windmills back in the day. I mean, they were incredibly useful, but only so useful as the wind. So I mean, of course, the Netherlands, it was you know, it worked perfectly, but you know, there are many parts of Europe where they haven't really been able to use wind as a power source, so you don't get very many windmills. I mean, but they exist pretty much all over Europe, but just in various styles. Mediterranean windmills also look very unique, you know, and they are also a bit more expensive, I was reading, to build. I don't know, I'm not a windmill expert, but I really love the way they look, and I find them very inspiring. And that's something I wanted to make sure when I built this, was to get it somewhat accurate as I could. You know, I just wanted to reflect a windmill as best I could. I didn't really quite know what I was building here, but I knew it was an important thing to the windmill, and the windmill would have looked odd without it. I mean, maybe you can let me know in the comments below what these features are exactly and the reasons for them, but my initial guess is for changing the direction of the windmill. In fact, I remember watching in the Netherlands people working with the windmills and pulling strings and pulling ropes and all sorts of things. It's quite it's quite a complex piece of machinery. And I don't know, it reminds me of a bit like a sailboat, you know, like a ship from, you know, the 1700s, you know, with giant sails and things, you know, and these kind of things. And I think that's why it's quite inspiring, because it's so old worldly and it's kind of alien to me. No one uses this kind of technology much anymore, except for, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and I digress. So these things I use because these windmills also have ropes attached to them, like in these parts, or these sort of like, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, but I couldn't put as many rope system thingies on as I wanted because that piece was very bulky. So I think, you know, I just used them a bit more to give the feeling that they were there. I mean, I think now looking back, I think in my other windmill that I built, my post mill, which you can see on my workshop, I actually used some of the available wires to make that work too. So, I mean, there are many different ways I could carry this out, but, you know, there was a difference between wanting to detail it too much, because there was many more features and slight details you could put onto a windmill to give it more realism, but I thought there has to be a point where it's just looks, and unfortunately it doesn't work like a real windmill other than the blade spin. So that's what I had to do. I mean, art's all about compromise sometimes when you're building reenactments of things, or, you know, you're building you know, things to look like something. There are points where you have to decide whether that's worth keeping or that's worth taking out, or, you know, if that will look good in a 3D form or a digital form, or a, you know, a drawn form, an artistic form. So you will see lots of things omitted or enhanced to make up for it. I think if I tried to follow this as accurately as I could and put too much detail into this building, then it would detract from what I was going for. I mean, that's what cartoons do. If you look at cartoon scenes, they want to translate it into a visual narrative so that it's easy for your brain to digest. And I think if I added too much details and too much of this and that, even if it existed in a real windmill, it would have made your brain a bit confused, just like the way I'm being right now when I'm talking to you. Okay, how long have I been talking to? 12 minutes. I'll keep going. It's another 3 minutes probably for the video, and then pretty soon I will be, well, this is already released on the workshop, but pretty soon I will be releasing a walkthrough, and it will be a bit more interesting than seeing where it's placed here, because it will be in my Netherland park and you can see it integrate with the other buildings. So, and it's a bit of an update to what I've been doing. You'll see what I've been doing away from the camera. I think I will have to organize another completely random live stream, which I don't know when I'm gonna do, but I don't like to start my live streams until I know exactly what I want to build, because I don't want to, you know, be boring when I'm performing for you guys. Performing. Oh god, make it sound like I'm a trained monkey. Maybe I am. I'm a trained YouTube monkey. What am I talking about? I don't know, but I am trying to finish the video. So I'm just doing a little bit of extra fine-tuning of the building, some detailing, sorting out this side which I wasn't happy with. I just didn't like the way it looked, which happened quite a lot with this build. There were always things I could come back and change, and there are still things I could, but I thought, no, otherwise, Snappy Pancakes, you will be here all day, and that's not good, because, you know, the series isn't even, you know, the bestseller series, you know, or anything. So it was a quick little series, and as you can see, it's mostly completed. I mean, there are some impracticalities and imperfections with the roof, but I really like how it turned out in the end. But as soon as you get a bit closer, you can see it's a bit jaggedy, a bit, you know. But I think I did my best, and I think it looks satisfactory. If you don't, then leave me a comment or whatever and tell me that you don't, which a lot of people will do, I'm sure. No, they won't. Nah, my viewers are awesome. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I get such great comments, and I have to respond to a few. I have to admit, it was pretty difficult to respond to thousands of comments when I got them for my Haunted House Dark Ride, but when there are less comments coming, you know, on average, then it's easier and more laid back for me. And I think it's pretty much done. I think it's going to be, yeah, that's it. So click in one of these boxes if you want to see what else I've been doing, and if not, then just go someone else and watch something else. And I'm really doing a weird job of narrating. Bye for now.